These niggas I'm rolling with some head busters, head busters, head busters, head busters. Hold up, you know what I'm talking about? The boys I'm fucking with some head busters, head busters, head busters, head busters. Hold up, you know what I'm talking about? The boys I'm fucking with some head busters, head busters, head busters, head busters, head busters, head busters. Hold up, you know what I'm talking about? The boys I'm fucking with some head busters, head busters, head busters, head busters, head busters, head busters. Hold up, you know what I'm talking about? The boys I'm fucking with some head busters, head busters, head busters, head busters. These niggas I'm rolling with some head busters. I'm fucking with some head busters, head busters, head busters, head busters. These niggas I'm rolling with some head busters, head busters, head busters, head busters. Hold up, rolling with some head busters, head busters, head busters, head busters. Hold up, you know what I'm talking about? The boys I'm fucking with some head busters, head busters, head busters, head busters. These niggas I'm rolling with some head busters, head busters, head busters, head busters. Hold up, you know what I'm talking about? Head busters, head busters. These niggas I'm rolling fucking with some head busters, head busters, head busters, head busters. These niggas I'm rolling with some head busters, head busters, head busters, head busters.
Yo, what up? We're back. We're gonna be doing the Contender Series 2019 Week 8. So, first off, just comment, like, subscribe to the channel. On on the last UFC we did pretty good. We went 10-3. We hit the prop of the week, the parlay of the week, the most confident pick. So hopefully we can keep that momentum going. And the first fight of the night here on the Dana Contender Series, Carl Reed taking on Julius Anglickas. And Carl Reed is getting his second opportunity on the Contender Series. He lost a close fight on the show to Cameron Olsen in 2017. He was only 2-0 at that time. Now he's gone out, won 4 more fights, and Reed is 6-1. He's a training partner of Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. He's coached by Stephen Wonderboy's father. And you could tell Reed trains with Wonderboy in his stand-up technique. He's a bigger fighter, but he's still very athletic. He's light on his feet, wide karate stance. He's very fast overall. He can blitz in and out quickly. He does have his hands low. That's a dangerous game at 205 where opponents just need one shot, but he's good at it. He can pull counter well. Nice jab, good 1-2. And he will slip and rip with the straight right hand. And he could set opponents down with it. Due to having his hands low, I have seen a couple opponents come over the top of lazy punches from him, hurt him. And, that's a little bit scary. Reed will throw nice kicks, good front kicks. Front leg side kicks to the body, to the head. He'll throw round kicks to the head, and he could sneak them in at the end of combinations. He also is good at switching stances off the round kicks. He can be fluid from both legs. He could throw kicks with both legs very fast, very well. And he's more of a fighter who likes to touch and move. He isn't looking for knockouts. He doesn't throw with a ton of power. He does have 3 KO, TKOs, and 6 wins. Reed is a decent offensive wrestler. He won't shoot for takedowns much unless he's losing the striking, but his doubles against the cage aren't bad. On top, he has good control. He could float while opponents are trying to move on bottom, improve his position. He has good ground and pound, and you'll look for arm triangles. He also will posture up from half guard, land big elbows, force opponents to give their backs. And I've seen him look for a few rear naked chokes. He has gotten some, but his technique is a little sloppy, especially his back control. I feel like fighters will be able to turn in on him or reverse that. His takedown defense looks like it needs a lot of work. He was taken down very easily on the Contender Series and showed nothing off his back. He won't panic, but he's just stuck on his back. He doesn't do much. I wasn't able to find his last 3 fights, but he looks alright to me overall. It's kind of hard for me to get a read on Reed. He looks athletic, like he could strike. He's decent on top, but he's hittable. He has a dangerous style defense, and his wrestling needs work. I do feel his skill set, if he can sharpen up his skills a little bit, some things are tricky. He's hard to deal with, especially for a light heavyweight. So he does have potential. If he has fixed up some of the deficiencies I saw in his last 3 fights, he may look different coming in here. Reed has no submissions. He's never been finished. And he's going to want to most likely keep it standing, stick and move. Anglickas, isn't the best striker. If he can get his range timing early, he maybe will be able to style on him. For Julius Anglickas, he's a prospect out of Lithuania. Now he's training in Minnesota. He's 6-1 with his loss coming to the same opponent, Cameron Olsen. Anglickas, he rebounded after the loss also. He's finished 5 consecutive fights, and he's coming off of winning the LFA Light Heavyweight Championship. For Julius Anglickas, he's a strong grappler. He's huge for the weight class. He's going to be looking to get this fight to the mat. His striking is not great. He'll throw a 1-2. He can mix in some uppercuts, but he's flat-footed. His chin is right in the air. He will throw occasional leg kicks. His hand speed isn't bad, but overall striking needs some work. He does have 3 knockouts. Most of those are due to ground and pound. Anglickas has good double leg takedowns. He'll get in the clinch, circle to the back, take opponents down from there. He likes to take the back. He has 3 rear naked choke finishes. He will also throw good, strong ground and pound from inside opponents' guards. Good control. He has kind of a methodical top game. And Anglickas, he needs to get this fight to the ground. If he does, I see him having a big advantage there. And I'm going to go with the Anglickas via submission in this fight. It's very close in my opinion. It's going to come down to the precision of Reed. If Reed could pot shot him from the outside, stick and move, he will have success. I just don't trust Reed's takedown defense, and I think Anglickas is going to be able to get takedowns, get the back, and ultimately get the submission. So the pick's going to be Julius Anglickas via submission in that fight. And up next here we have 2 experienced bantamweights. Tony Gravely, he's the CES champion. He's defended the belt 2 times. He's going to be taking on Ray the Judge Rodriguez. And Gravely's losses, they've come to very stiff competition. His last 4 losses have came to Ricky Bandejas, Merab Divasvili, Manny Bermudez, and Patrick Mix. All those guys are very good. And he's going to be taking on the Judge here. He's also fought good competition. Both fighters are 10-1 in their last 11 fights. They're on a roll. Tony Gravely, he's a former Division I college wrestler. He's a smart fighter on the feet. His striking is all to get it to the mat. He knows his strengths. Very explosive. He is a strong athlete. Fast hand speed. He, throws some straight punches. Mix in some level changes to create openings. He's very good at throwing a couple straight punches, feinting the level change, coming up throwing more, or, instead of feinting the level change, getting on the legs, getting the takedown. And he has explosive slam takedowns. He'll get big elevation on his doubles. I've seen him finish fights with slam takedowns. A good singles, good body locks also. Good diversity in his wrestling. In top position, when he can posture up, he's very aggressive with ground and pound. He'll rain down big hammer fists from inside his opponent's guards. Good at jumping the guard, moving to side control. And he'll feel how his opponents are moving underneath him. If he feels his opponent is moving well, then you'll stay in side control. Just try to ride his opponent out and not take them out. And he's very good at moving on top, floating. Good control. He usually keeps top position very well. When he feels his opponents are breaking, that's when he'll start to take them out, take more risks, force his opponents to turn, finish him with strikes, get the rear naked choke. He has really nice short-range power. He can knock opponents out with short punches on the mat. I've seen him knock out opponents with short hammer fists as they were attacking leg locks. And he does put himself in bad situations on the mat, though. He leaves his head inside and gets put in guillotine positions. He leaves his arms on the mat at times, and I've seen him, give up some deep armbar triangle positions, even in his last few fights. Opponents also can get in on leg locks, and he uses a lot of explosion power to get out of submissions. He'll slam his way out of guillotines, armbars, triangles, and he's good at defending leg locks and using the scramble to take the back or dominant position. But due to him trying to slam his way out of submissions, he has been submitted in 4 of his 5 losses, and he has multiple 5-round fights, so he has great cardio. He doesn't slow down. He can grind all fight. He's had a 4th and 5th round finish in his last 5 fights, so he's shown he can bring that finishing ability into the championship rounds. 7 knockouts. Most of those are ground and pound, and he's never been finished by strikes. He's more of a grinder on the mat. Just 3 submissions. He really only looks for rear naked chokes. For Ray Rodriguez, he's going to be most likely the better striker in this matchup. He's a forward pressure striker. He's primarily a boxer. Crisp jab, nice 1-2. He'll also throw to the body, and he'll throw oblique kicks, leg kicks. He'll flurry with hooks, straight punches. And when he get back opponents up towards the cage, he'll throw long combinations. He'll throw nasty short elbows, big knees. Great cardio, man. He can let off 10, 15, 20 shot combos. I would like to see him cut the cage off better, though. And he's in the fleetest of foot or the best athlete. He's definitely going to be the slower fighter here in this fight. He is heavy on his lead leg as well. He doesn't check kicks often. And his takedown defense is not good. And that's going to be the difference here. He gets taken down very easily with double legs. I just don't see him stuffing the takedowns at all. Off of his back, Rodriguez will look for some sweeps, guillotines, Kimuras, but I don't think he's very good on the mat. He isn't great in the scrambles. He can get hit with the big ground and pound. He fought a striker in Chris Gutierrez, who he just saw fight, and gave his back trying to stand up, was submitted in the first round. I just don't see him being able to keep this fight standing. He has a small punchers and a small chance of a submission, but overall, this is Gravely's fight. Gravely should be able to get top position, do damage, take the back of the rear naked choke. So I'm going to say Gravely via first or second round submission here. And up next here we have Shanna Young taking on Sarah Alpar. And both these girls are former college wrestlers. Shanna Young, she's a good athlete, and her striking is okay. She would throw at a jab, 1-2. Her hands don't look bad, but she can get tagged with big counters, and when she's forced to fight moving backwards, doesn't throw much. Young, in her one loss, she was walked down. She was beat in boxing range. And in that fight, she was throwing a lot of front leg side kicks to the body, to the head, and round kicks. They aren't bad, but she doesn't really know when to throw them and when not to. She'll throw them way too close, get them jammed, get countered with big shots. And in that fight, though, she was facing a girl in Lisa Spangler, who's, a very good grappler, someone who has a submission artist. And I feel like her whole game plan in that fight was try to keep the range, use those kicks to keep it on their feet, outstrike her. And she had some success. It was a split decision, but, she's a grappler usually, so that was kind of a difficult game plan for her to pull off, which she obviously eventually didn't do it. But when she's allowed to go forward, she'll let off with, some nice jabs, overhand rights. She's a little bit wild, but she has some power, good left hooks, and, her punches are a little bit sloppy. I'm not really impressed with her striking, but she's tough. She's willing to take punishment, and she's a good grappler. She has good pressure, control against the cage. She wears on opponents with her cage control, and then she'll, start to implement her double legs. Her takedowns, her top control, haven't been very effective in MMA, though. But she's a good scrambler. She has good takedown defense. And she'll get opponents, off of... Or she can scramble from bottom pretty well. She's very good at making opponents, when they have her back, turning in, getting in their guard. In a fight I saw her, though, in recently versus a 1-on-1 fighter, she was controlled against her cage herself. She was taken down. She couldn't take down that girl super effectively. And she was able to be the one largely controlling against the cage, but didn't show a lot of offense from there. Just some short punches. She was punching the legs, the body, and, some occasional knees. She does have great cardio, and she's very good at, disengaging off the break, using a combination, putting her opponent right back on the cage and breaking them mentally, along with, taxing their cardio. She is sloppy, though, like I said, and she just wins a lot of fights because of her strength, athleticism advantage, and just toughness and cardio. She does look to have a killer instinct and goes for the finish when she has opponents hurt. She has back-to-back finishes, but she has 2 submissions, 2 knockouts, and she also has a loss to undefeated prospect Lisa Spangler. She took a 2.5-year hiatus from hip surgery, and then she fought Spangler, so she did have a long layoff when she lost, and she's came back and won 2 fights since then, but they've come against a girl who's 1-1 and 0-0, so bad competition. But she's going to be taking on Sarah Alpar, who's 8-4, and Alpar's been fighting a long time. Her first pro fight was in 2011, and she's also a college wrestler. She's, I would say, below average striking also. I actually think this fight will probably be a fun, sloppy, low-level striking battle, potentially. Alpar, she starts slow. I would say she's the lesser athlete of the two. She likes to plod forward. She has her hands low. She can throw wide with her chin high. In her one loss against, or not her one loss, but her recent loss against Karina Dam, she got dropped a couple times in that fight due to that. And, she does look like she recovers quickly, but getting dropped like that is a little alarming. But she has looked to have improved her head movement, her ability to slip in her turn, and she has some decent hook, straight punches, and she has okay pop in her hands. Her last fight, she did fight, a good athletic, rangy striker, and she was able to catch some kicks, slip some punches, but overall she was kind of outclassed on the feet, even though she did win the fight with her wrestling. Alpar has some decent leg kicks, and you always have to be wary of the takedown. She has nice single legs, she catches kicks and turns them into singles very well. She'll change the singles to a double or a body lock. And if she's the opening, she's good at chain wrestling and finishing with the takedown she needs to use. I think she will be the better wrestler in the matchup, and Shanna needs to try to use her athleticism to win scrambles. Alpar's nasty though. She's a relentless grinder, doesn't get tired. She just fought 5 rounds, and she's not going to stop coming forward trying to win the fight. In my opinion, this is a similar fight to the one Shanna had against Lisa Spangler, so we're going to see if she can improve. Spangler is probably more dangerous with their jiu-jitsu, but yeah, they're both going to be trying to get it to the mat. For Alpar, she can lose scrambles though. I have seen her give her back, and she has been submitted twice in her career, but she does have 1 submission, 1 TKO, and her cardio is top notch. If they're sitting to do a dogfight, I think Alpar is going to dog her out. Alpar, she's lost twice by decision also, but her chin is very good. She recovers quickly when she's hurt, and she should have a lot of confidence. She's coming off a 5-round title fight win in LFA. Alpar's going to want to get inside, make it ugly, make Shanna work moving backwards, go for takedowns, force her to work back to her feet, just grind her out. I think Shanna's going to be looking to use more movement, counter punching, those front leg side kicks, be more technical on the feet, and she's going to be trying to stop the takedowns, but I don't see her going for them most likely. I think if she does have a grappling game plan, I think Alpar's going to out-grapple her and get her tired. But if Young can take the back, that's the only place I see her being effective on the mat. Both these girls have great cardio, toughness, and I think it's a close fight, maybe a 50-50 fight. I'm going to go with the toughness, the grittiness of Alpar to get it done, though. I think she's going to land a couple counters on the feet and just use her wrestling and just her mentality to edge it out. And I'm going to say it's going to be ever so slightly. So I'm going to say Alpar wins this fight via split decision here. Now, next year we have a pretty cool fight with Brok Weaver taking on Devon Smyth. And, Brok Weaver, he was actually supposed to be on the Dana White Contender Series earlier in the year facing Leon Shabazian. And don't know what happened, but Shabazian had to pull from the card. So I guess they're just giving him another opportunity here against another guy in Devon Smyth. And Brok Weaver, man, he's usually a 55er, but I have seen him fought Tyler Hill, who's a 70 that fought on the show, Dana White Contender Series before, and I do feel he's going to be significantly smaller here in this fight. But Brok Weaver is a pressure striker, he has decent takedowns, and he's a wild man, bro. His last fight, he fought in bare knuckle FC. He fought against Joe Riggs, who's a big guy. So I don't think he's going to be intimidated by the size. But he lost the decision, but it wasn't a brutal fight. After the Riggs fight, he told Riggs he's a 55 or he's moving back down, but he's taking this fight again at 70, so hopefully he knows what he's doing. But he's a good jab, good one too. Pretty solid hand speed, throws tight punches, sound defensive movement. He can angle well. And the thing though, he does pull back with his chin high, and he can be low volume at times. He throws some oblique kicks to the knees at range, and he'll throw the round kicks to the body, to the head. But overall at range, he's hittable. He needs to be inside, more in boxing range, making it ugly. But he has a good chin. He just stands in there. He likes to talk shit in fights after he's hit. And he's only been TKO'd 1 time. But he doesn't have much power. He isn't a huge finisher. He only has 2 knockouts. And those were the first 2 fights of his career. Weaver isn't a bad grappler. He has solid body locks, double leg takedowns. He's active on top. I don't think he's great, but he's aggressive. Good back take, even though he can be sloppy with it. He was able to get an arm triangle win from Mount in his last fight. His takedown defense isn't bad either, and I haven't seen much of him off of his back. He does have good cardio. He won't back down or be broken for sure. And Devon Smyth, if he's going to beat him, he has to, really beat him. But Devon Smyth, he's won 9 consecutive fights since his debut. And he hasn't fought very good competition at all, though. The best fighter he's ever faced is 11-8-1. Weaver's definitely fought the much higher level competition. And this is going to be the best fighter Smyth's ever fought. He's only fought one opponent with more than 3 pro wins. And Smyth's a great athlete. He tries to blitz his opponents early, get him out fast. Quick start, he's explosive, and good range striker, really fast kicks. He'll switch stances, throw kicks well from both sides. Excellent leg, body, head kicks. He throws them very, very, fluidly. You'll throw them in combination, and you'll throw like a leg kick to a head kick to a spinning back kick combination, and very, very dynamic early. And if fighters give him space and back up, he's a good striker. He's dangerous. His hands aren't very well developed, though. He struggles when opponents pressure, jam his kicks. And he's good at using a couple of straight punches or hooks and then ducking under for takedowns. But if you force him to find that boxing range and defend those takedowns, he's susceptible there. He does have explosive slams, doubles, singles. He looks aggressive, very strong early. And he moves to dominant position, side control, nice elbows, nice knees. He can move to mount. You could look to take the back over and naked chokes. The thing about him, though, is I've seen some quit in him in multiple fights. When fighters can jam his kicks, they can land punches to get takedowns. And when opponents get him on his back, he struggles to get back up. He looks lost. His takedown defense isn't bad, but it isn't amazing. And when he fought a guy recently, Dan Yates, who was 1-0, that fight was in 2018, so it's pretty recent, like I said. He was taken down. He couldn't get up. He gave mount. He gave the back in the first round. And Yates landed what looked to be kind of a very inconsequential elbow to the spine. But Smyth didn't want to continue, and it was ruled a no contest. In my opinion, he was clearly on his way to losing that fight. And Smyth does have a few submission wins, but I feel if you could fight at a fast pace, start to have success yourself, he could start to gas or mentally fold a bit. He's getting a big step of competition here, and we're going to see how he's going to fare. He does have 5 submissions, and he earned his first knockout in March. In this fight, I'm going to go with Brok Weaver, and I'm pretty confident. I think Weaver's forward pressure is going to be too much for Smyth. I see him being able to push him back, jam the kicks, and eventually get takedowns. And I think he has to be careful, especially early, respect Smyth. And in reality, though, he's a veteran. He's seen much more high-level competition, and he's just a dog who I think is going to want it more. He's going to have more heart, better cardio. And I'm going to say Weaver wins via rear naked choke or ground and pound in round 2 of this fight. I'm next here with Alcavek taking on William Knight. And man, I mean, these Euros haven't been doing very good on the show. They bring in a lot of big Euros too, a lot of these bigger guys. They brought that Kenneth Berg, who he got submitted. Actually, his opponent filled for steroids. But then they brought in, who was the other dude last week that Nascimento submitted? Another, Norway guy. So a lot of these Euro heavies, Euro light heavies have been losing on the show, but Herdim actually trains at Black House, so he's training at a good gym over here in the United States. And in the main event, we have 2 undefeated fighters. They're both undefeated. William Knight is 4-0. Herdim is 5-0. And Herdim is a Swedish guy. He has defeated a notable name, Antonio Arroyo, who just signed with the UFC. He won on the Contender Series, and I'm actually very high on Arroyo. But it was up a weight class for him. Herdim is a solid fighter. He has okay striking skills and strong grappling. Good jabs, solid 1-2s. He'll throw good body head kicks. Digs nice double underhooks and pushes opponents to the cage. Throws hard knees to the body. Works for takedowns. And this is his game, man. He's good at breaking off the clinch. Throwing long, fast combinations. And he has power in his hands, but his defense on the feet isn't great. He doesn't have great footwork moving backwards. He will, use really nice clinch takedowns if opponents get very aggressive. Good body lock suplexes, double legs. And when he takes top position, he overwhelms a lot of opponents. Very heavy on top, works quickly. Nice arm triangle. Really good mount position. You'll land some shots, force the back, finish the fight. He'll lock in rear naked chokes. He can flatten opponents out, finish with strikes. And he has finished all his fights on the ground, I believe. Herdim has 2 rear naked chokes, 3 KO, TKOs. Finished all 5 of his wins. And he's only been out of the first round 1 time. He's never seen the 3rd round. And it seems he's been training a long time, because he went pro in 2014. But his career really didn't get going until 2017. And I'm next here with William Knight, who's 4-0 with 4 finishes. But this guy is actually pretty experienced, man. He has 9 amateur fights, 13 fights overall, and 13 fights since 2016. So this guy's been racking up a lot of fights. And and he's only lost one of those. He only lost one time as an amateur, and William Knight, he's gonna be the more experienced fighter here for sure. And he's an athletic guy. He'll do backflips, splits as post-fight celebrations, and good wrestler, big power. But his striking is not good. He has his chin right in the air, super hittable. He doesn't move his hands. His boxing is very rudimentary, very flat-footed. He really struggles to get his range with punches. He kind of just wings overhands, and if he lands, he has power, but doesn't set his shots up well on the feet. He'll throw spinning kicks, and he can close distance and throw them very quickly. But his last fight, he attempted one, ended up on his back because he was too close. But he is good at scrambling top position. He finished the fight from there. Good body lock, good double legs. And when he's in top position, heavy ground and pound. But he doesn't look to be very good with his jiu-jitsu. He looks submittable. He does have some big man submissions. Like I've seen him get Americanas, key locks. But I still think Knight is very raw. I'm not sure about his cardio, but I've seen him staggered with big shots. And I don't know. I'm going to go with Herdeem by knockout in top position or on the feet. I think he's better than Knight everywhere. And I'm going to say he gets a first round finish here in this fight. I think it's like... I don't know. I'm not saying William Knight can't win because these are two big guys, but I think Herdeem is the better fighter here. So I'm going to go with Herdeem via first round finish in this fight. And for the most confident pick of the night, I'm going to be doing Tony Gravely. And for the parlay of the week, it's going to be Tony Gravely and Brok Weaver this week. So that's going to be the breakdown for the Dana White Contender Series for this week. And make sure to be on the lookout tomorrow for the UFC 241 card. I mean, that's a sick card, man. Nate Diaz coming back. Stipe DC, Yoel Romero versus Paulo Costa. Corey Sandhagen, Rafael Assunção. I mean, that motherfucker is a banger, dude. Ian Heinisch taking on Derek Brunson. Devontae Smith taking on Clay Collard. I mean, fuck, dude. That's a hell of a card right there. And, so I'm excited to break that one down. And like I said, we did very well on UFC on ESPN Plus 14. So hopefully we can continue that momentum, keep it going. I thought last week on the Contender Series, man, I mean, fuck, shit luck, right? I mean, we had Santos lose, which I thought that was one of the worst robbery decisions I've seen in a long time. I mean, really bad. That might have been one of the worst decisions of the year. And then they had the first guy, Jay Perrin, lost as well, where I thought Perrin won the fight. And then Harvey Park gets injured in the fight. So, hopefully that doesn't happen again. Hopefully we got all our bad luck out in that one event. But, man, so that's going to be the breakdown for this card, for this event. And make sure, like I said, to be on the lookout for the UFC 241 tomorrow. Comment, like, subscribe. And tell me who you like on this event. Tell me who you like tomorrow. And if you did good last weekend. So, just be interactive. Put down in the comments what you think. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.